Okay, let's start with, you know what? Let's just go on the high end, right? I'll start and kick it off with Desmond Bane, right? Because I think Desmond Bane has been phenomenal and has taken yet another leap. And this is something that I've talked about previously. And I know Desmond is out with a sprain, I think, of his toe. I think he's going to miss like a couple of weeks here. But Desmond Bane has played 12 games this season. He's averaging 25 points a night. He's shooting 46.5% from the field, 45% from three, 91% from the line. And by the way, like, these are numbers that are not out of the norm for him. He's shooting 46% from the field. He shot 46% from the field last year. He's shooting 45% from three. He shot 44% from three last year. He shot 90% from the foul line last year. I guess you could say that it's on a bit of a different volume. He is taking more pull-up jumpers, but he's taking more pull-up jumpers. He started doing that late last season as well. So I just look at what Desmond can do, and it's the way that the handle is improved. It's the way that his secondary ball handling instincts have improved. His decision on when to go for his shot and when to try and attack has improved. Everything across the board with Desmond Bane. And this is a guy that, you know, I've talked about before. One of the most impressive human beings I've come across in the pre-draft process in terms of willingness to take constructive criticism from teams, from people like me, anyone that he could get any sort of feedback from. He was always willing to listen and wanted to learn. And I think that you can see that in the way that he has drastically improved his game every single point of his career. This is a guy who came into the NBA as a senior, a 4-year player in college, someone that, you know, is supposed to be closer to their ceiling. But anyone who met with Desmond and did their homework on him through the pre-draft process knew that he was going to keep getting better. It was just how high the ceiling was for him. And I think we all underrated his ceiling. And I say that as someone that had him in the top 20 pre-draft. Like, I loved Desmond pre-draft, and I still drastically underrated what his ceiling was based on his start to the season. Mark, what have you liked about Desmond Bane thus far?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is just the continued development of his ability to create his own shot, which sounds like very basic, but I mean, just the sheer jump in unassisted numbers has been really impressive this year. I tweeted this out earlier this season, but like legitimately over the first 2 or 3 weeks, I think he had like one bad game in the first 3. And then after that, he just kind of popped off like a madman in terms of his ability to like you mentioned with his handle tightening up. He's so strong on his drives, and especially too, like he's one of the guys where obviously different type of player, but like it's the same thing with like, okay, if Harrison Barnes catches and goes from the slot, he's just so strong and has enough handle and fluidity, you can't really do anything about it. And that's where it is with Desmond right now. And the handle has gotten to a point now where he's capable of running some primary actions and it being okay, especially if it's early offense stuff. And I mean, he's just comfortable enough with his shot prep to kind of get what he wants, how he wants, when he wants. He has a lot of counters in his jumper, and even just getting downhill to the rim. And he legitimately has become a very difficult to guard player, not just a difficult to guard off ball player. Like you need an extremely versatile defender who has strength, has quickness, has the ability to stay focused off the ball. Like you're narrowing the amount of guys who can actually stop what he does. And I think that's what, to me, makes him so much better. Like it was more so like last year, obviously running him off the line, I think was still not an awesome thing to do because he was capable of getting downhill. But now it's to such a degree where it's like, I don't really know how you guard him entirely in a way that you feel great about it, I should say, especially considering you're devoting so much time and effort to John Moran as well.
I think that the big thing with Desmond is just that it's really, really hard to have to run him off the line and then simultaneously deal with his strength. So like the best guys to guard him with are like rangy, longer players who are strong. Mm-hmm. Like that's almost what you need, right? You need a guy that can get a contest on the shot as well as can physically load up against him. And there just aren't many guys who can do that. Like, that's the thing. He's actually like a very difficult player to deal with now that he can put the ball on the deck, now that he can physically just kind of manage his own ability as a driver. Like, he's always been able to play through contact, but the footwork has really improved. Like, he can Euro step around guys now. Like, he's never been the most fluid athlete through his hips, right? Like, he's, you know, you and I will call people boxy sometimes in terms of, you know, some players, they just struggle to like flip their hips when they're handling the ball. Like, you see it with Euro steps. You see it when guys try to maneuver around the basket, right? I think he's actually really improved there. I think he's kind of opened up his flexibility a little bit. But more than that, it's just the footwork. Every single foot, he never takes a step out of place, I feel like. It's just the attention to detail, I think, that stands out with Desmond Bane. He knows exactly how to run off of every single screen, every single time, to put himself in the best possible position to shoot. He's obviously a threat to shoot basically within 30 feet, which is incredibly important to spacing. But obviously the bigger problem here is just like, if you're dealing with Desmond Bane, you have to run him off the line or you're screwed. Or if you try, you have to be picture perfect on the closeout every single time, essentially. And on top of it, you're probably not guarding him with your best perimeter defender. You're probably guarding him with a wing defender. And he's just kind of able to run around screens. A lot of wing defenders are not great at managing running around screens a lot of the time in the way that he is effective at doing it. So he's just a fucking hard problem to solve.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, just to even like rattle off his numbers, like, so his rookie year, 71% of his twos were assisted, and that's down to 34% now. So like, he's pretty much half that, which is, I mean, that in and of itself is wildly impressive. But then the threes going from only 17% of his threes were self-created last year. Now he's at almost 40% of his threes are self-created, and it's effective. Like, it's not just I'm testing the waters. It's very much like, okay, I'm comfortably doing this, and then it's opening things up for me. And it's still not that he's taking like a million twos. Like, he's taking more twos this year, but again, it's just more like his shooting is so good and he's able to get it off in so many ways that it just, him having the game come to him the way that it has inside the arc. And that's without even mentioning, like, he's getting the line almost 5 times a game right now, and that's a byproduct of the strength. Like, he's a tremendous young player, man. I continue to really just enjoy watching his game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm such an enormous fan of him. Okay, we talked about Desmond for 10 minutes here. Do we think Desmond makes an all-star team?
I would have him this year, I think.
Would you?
I think he'd be on this year. He's been that good.
I'm just kind of running through in my mind like who I'd have. Like, would you have him or Lauri Markkanen?
Oh, see, that's when you put it like that. Has to be one of them. I mean, I think I would probably have Markkanen over Bane right now. And that's not just because of record. Like, Markkanen's been awesome.
Yeah.
And Markkanen.
So like guards here. Let's just like run through. It'd be like Damian Lillard, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander,
Booker,
Devin Booker,
Steph.
Definitely Stephen Curry.
Are we calling Luka a guard?
Maybe. So Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, you would have, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just kind of like that's 6 right there, just in the backcourt. So that's where you start getting complicated. So like Desmond has to be a wild card in that case, which means he's going up against guys like Lowry. He's going up against guys like
De'Aaron
Paul
Fox.
George.
We didn't even mention Fox. Yeah,
De'Aaron Fox. Goodness. I mean, De'Aaron Fox would almost have to be an all-star this year, right?
Yeah. Oh, without question. Yeah, shoot. Okay, yeah, this makes it hard. But point being, like, he's on the precipice for me. Like, I think he's in consideration. Jesus Christ, the league is so good this year, man. I think that's the best takeaway right there. League is very fun.
It's the deepest it's ever been. Talent-wise, this league is the deepest it has ever been. I can't remember. Like, we didn't even mention Chris Paul, and like Phoenix has still looked very good this year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'll be honest with you, like, I don't really think there's a case for Chris Paul this season. And I know he's not shooting super well early in the year, but like, he's still so integral to everything Phoenix does at the end of the day. So like, yeah, I mean, that's how good this league is, that even though Chris Paul's having a down year, and I think he still might be leading the league in assists, but like he doesn't even really have a case for this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. It is kind of wild. But watch Chris Paul have like he's gonna do the thing in January and February where he, has like 72% true shooting for 20 straight games and just goes absolutely crazy. But we will see.
No, I think that's dead on.